Welcome to our 2130 Partners Operating Principle video series. I'm Suzanne Mayo Frint, Principal of 2130 Partners, a leadership development and education firm, and also co-author of our book, Accelerate, High Leverage Leadership for Today's World. This video segment is focused on our operating principle, Declare Each Person's Contribution is Valid and Valuable. So it's one of our 12 operating principles, and you'll find it in our book as a support structure for other operating principles. So let's talk about what we mean about this operating principle. And let's separate out first the word declare. The definition of declare that I'd like to use for the purpose of this principle is a formal announcement of the beginning of a state or condition. So a declaration to declare is making a formal announcement of the beginning of a state or condition. So back to the operating principle. Declare that each person's contribution is valid or valuable. Using this definition, it's declaring to myself, not necessarily out loud, but it's shifting my mindset. It's a formal announcement to myself to the beginning of a state or condition, which we define as a productive mindset, as a way to set us up for a productive contributor to resolving an issue, to contributing to solutions, generating results. So to declare that each person's contribution is valid and valuable is the way I set up my mind. You could call it a brain priming. Recently, I've been reading about a study done at the University of Pennsylvania regarding brain priming. And what that means is actually priming our brains with certain thoughts and looking to see what the resultant behaviors are. So in the study in the University of Pennsylvania, they brain primed or had a certain group of people think about money before they walked into a cafe to have lunch. And another group of people they brain primed or had them consumed with thoughts about time before they went into a cafe to have lunch. And then they observed their behavior. And interestingly enough, the people that they had primed with the conversation about time, they noticed that those people either had lunch with others, spoke to other people at the other tables, or were on the phone connecting with others. And then the behavior of the people that they primed about the thoughts about money tended to eat alone and work while they ate lunch. So I think you may think you've just heard the solution to all your employee issues, which is brain prime them every day with thoughts about money. But the point I'm making here is that what we fill our mind with, what we brain prime with, does impact our behavior. It impacts what we say, it impacts the way we listen, and all of that is included. So I'm suggesting that this operating principle, declare that each person's contribution is valid and valuable, is a method of brain priming, the formal announcement of the beginning of a state or condition that I'm purposely, consciously setting myself up to be a valuable listener. So you have an example of a declaration in the Declaration of Independence. It was written a couple hundred or so years ago, and it was not based on any fact at the time. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that each person that all men are created equal and deserving of unalienable rights, health, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. In those days when that declaration was written, that was not true. That was not historically the case. So declarations are statements that we make that have no basis necessarily in current facts or historical evidence, and maybe little or no indication that they're even possible. So back to our operating principle, declare that each person's contribution is valid and valuable. I'm declaring a productive mindset that I'm listening, I'm here in a way that each person who contributes here today has a valid perspective. It's theirs. It's their file cabinet. They came by it honestly. It's their experiences. It's valid for them. That each person's contribution is valid. And then the next leap that I make is that it's also valuable. Most people can get to the place of declaring that each person's contribution is valid. It's like, yeah, whatever, your opinion is yours, you own it, it's your perception, it's your reality, you're entitled to it. Most people can at least get themselves to that place. The next leap is shifting in the way I set my mind frame, the way I brain prime, that each person's contribution is also valuable. Whether or not they actually come up with the answer or the result, oftentimes it's the contribution of others that triggers my thinking in a new way, if I'm open to it. That it may even have me or someone else in the group come up with a valuable answer, valuable solution, more elegant solution than I might have thought of on my own. So to declare that each person's contribution is valid and valuable sets me up, brain primes for me to be a valuable listener in the conversation. What it offers the environment, the productive environment, is to help make it safe for people to actually say what their thoughts are, to say make their true contribution. So I'm contributing to a productive environment. And when every person around the room is doing that, the whole level of conversation can be raised to a whole nother level. Or the confronting and dealing with real issues can be digging down at really the core levels. So practice this one. Declare that each person's contribution is valid and valuable. Don't do it out loud. Do it in your head. Brain prime. Shift your mindset. Set it up before you walk into a meeting with another person or with a group of people. Declare each person, I'm listening, that each person's contribution here is valid and valuable. I'm making eye contact. I'm connecting with them. I'm considering what they have to say. I've unlocked my file cabinet. New stuff can come in. I may learn something here. So set yourself up with that brain priming, that operating principle. See how it turns out. What difference does it make in the conversation, in the meeting, in the relationship? So, practice it often, and accelerate your leadership.